another episode of Tabletop Discussion. I'm Sister Ruth.
I'm Kim.
I'm Tracy.
Kiki.
Ruth.
Today we have a special guest, Miss Tracy. And she's here from Atlanta.
Hi, family.
So let's see what our topic will be today. And we will let our guests pick.
That's not pick.
Oh, okay. She said we're not going to pick. What would you like to do, Miss Tracy?
Let's talk about when loyalty becomes denial.
When loyalty becomes denial. Can you expound on that for us?
Well, I was married previously for like 25 years, and I always believed it was going to change. It was loyalty and not denial. Have you all had the same experience?
Ooh. Well, since Rose said definitely, we're going to let her start.
I've been involved off and on with an individual probably for 2 decades. And I'm so loyal to a fault that I'm always there. Good, bad, indifferent, I'm there. Being in denial is not seeing things when they're presented to you, because you're staying loyal to what you're used to. You know what I'm saying? Always being there. And sometimes you have to draw the line. You have to decide that, hey, certain things that you're not going to no longer do out of loyalty, and stop accepting things that aren't right or shouldn't be. If they don't deserve it, then cut it.
It's also a factor of how does it feel to you. If you're always hurting, always sad, always making bad decisions, whether they're emotionally or financially or even spiritually, does that discrimination between loyalty or denial or denial?
I'd like to expound on that. Well, what it is that are you being loyal when you know that, there's things that person do that you don't like. So are you accepting it because of the fear of being alone, or a fear that person's going to walk out, and then where are you going to be? So you're just going to accept what that person brings to you. We, once again, as I always say, we have to think about ourselves. We have to put ourselves
And there's
first.
nothing wrong with it.
And there's nothing, she's right. There's nothing wrong with putting ourselves first, because if we keep accepting that behavior, knowing that, first of all, that it's dysfunctional, knowing that it's toxic, you know what? Only person we're hurting really is ourselves, because that person is going to continue to do what they're doing because you're allowing it to do it, because you're in denial of the fact that, of their situation. If it's something that person is not doing, you've got to be bold enough to stand and say, hey, I don't like that. I think that was disrespectful. I think what you're doing is disrespectful. But we as women, we have this problem of just like, clamming up and just putting it on the back burner. And afraid, not being able to say no. We're scared to say no, because we don't know what the outcome of our no's are going to be. So we just deal with it. But then that becomes a very dangerous situation, because it can just take one thing to make you snap, and then you know what? I got to come visit you and put money on your books because you've lost it. And we have to put ourselves first. I'm a believer of that. And when I'm guilty of the denial, trying to be loyal to someone, but guess what? If they're not giving me loyalty, guess what? I really need to rethink my decisions or my feelings, and you know what? Dish back to them what they're giving. But unfortunately, we as women, we don't do that. We're afraid to put that man on. We're afraid to check them.
And it's not
fear of the unknown.
Yeah. And it's not even just men. It's like in your life. If you continue to accept things, you're not going to be good to anybody else.
Exactly.
You're in a workplace, spiritually, in a church place, you're not going to be able to stand strong because you're just like down with the wind. This is for my older people. Mealy mouth. You're just like, okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
When you know it's wrong.
And I would like to speak on that. And a lot of it's generational.
Absolutely.
We think about, our parents and our moms and our grandmoms or our older aunts and how they were so loyal to their mate that they just swept stuff up under the rug. But we can't do that anymore. We're in a totally different world. We're in a totally different generation. So with that being said, what Mima and Big Ma and Auntie and Mama and them used to do for their men, it's not the same anymore because those men, they're not there, and those type of men they're not there.
Right. How do you feel as a young lady?
In my generation, at this point, I think our biggest problem as millennials is knowing self-worth. And self-worth has been going down the drain over the years. And young ladies, even older ladies, letting certain people in their lives, putting them down, letting them treat them any type of way, it's not healthy at all.
Absolutely.
And
It affects the children too.
exactly. And with loyalty, you can be loyal to a person, but you have to be loyal to yourself first. You have to love yourself first.
Preach.
And
Key.
if you can't love yourself, how much do you can love somebody else?
Yeah, you can't love someone. You cannot genuinely love someone else if you don't truly love yourself or know yourself.
Even the Bible says, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself."
Exactly.
And that's a good example. If you're treating anybody else badly, you really don't love yourself. The word says it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Man, sitting here listening to my sisters and my queens, as my cousin Tracy sit here and calls us, which is awesome. One of the things we have to truly take a look at is both of the words denial and loyalty. Denial is not seeing something that is presented to you. And loyalty is being there and being present regardless of whatever circumstances that may present itself. One of the things that you can see, as my sister brought up here when we talk about generational, I'm going to talk about women in general. We were brought up a certain way, okay? We were brought up as women that were supposed to be loyal for whatever relationship that we're in, whether it's with a man or if you're with a woman or if you're fluid, whatever it may be. We've been brought up that if you're in a relationship, you're supposed to be loyal. You're supposed to be there for that individual regardless of whatever circumstances. To use another word, you're supposed to be down for them.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have their back. You're supposed to do all these things. This is something that's been ingrained in us, especially in a traditional relationship of being there and being loyal, regardless of how you're being treated or whatever the case may be. And the thing is, it's not healthy. Okay, being loyal is earned. Okay, if I'm gonna be loyal, you're gonna earn that loyalty. Okay, and it's not gonna be at the expense of my health or my well-being. And that's something that we have to learn to practice as women on a daily basis, because this can be hard. As I stated, it has been ingrained of us. If you go back to the 30s, the 40s, 50s, all the way down to where we are now, it's something that's been ingrained. We're supposed to do what our husbands tell us to do. We're supposed to have their back. We're supposed to make sure everything is taken care of, regardless of how we're treated. And then we've seen so much from our mothers, our aunts, our cousins, and everything of how they handle their relationships that, you decide that this is what I'm supposed to do. I've had cousins that had husbands that took care of them financially and everything, but they were out there seeing other women and they knew about it. And their thing was, oh, he's a good dad and he takes care of me. And no. Well, what expense is that to you of you feeling bad, of you not feeling that you're enough, because he's out with other women, but yet you're the dutiful wife at home? And it's vice versa. We have to realize that we're worthy and we deserve happiness and we deserve somebody to be just as loyal to us as we are to them. And denial just comes in the second place because it's something that is there, but you don't want to see it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to
address it.
Yep.
Well, and there's a fear, that fear thing, and fear is not of God. And if you have a fear, like if I make a stand for myself, all this thing is over and I'm gonna be on my own. So you're not trusting God in the process. He got you. You gotta just stand on your own. No, he has you. He has you covered. You cannot believe what man says. You have to believe what God says.
Absolutely. And then another piece to that is, we as women with the denial, we feel that we have to be submissive to our mates. But in the Bible it states, and that's one of the Bible verses that people take out of context. It says, I have to be submissive to my husband. But no, you don't have to be submissive to your husband. You have to be submissive to your husband as he is submissive to God. So if your husband or your wife is not submissive to God, you know what? That's a verse that we can just look at and be like, well, you know what? He ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing. He is not being submissive to God. So therefore, you don't have to be submissive to him. But that is things that was not taught to us. And these are things that you learn. And they're learned with you forming a relationship with God. If you don't have a relationship with God, you can't understand God. You can't understand his word. You have to be able to get in a place and meditate and understand what God's word said and be able to apply it to your life in whatever aspect that it needs to be applied to. But we have to remember, the context of the Bible. We have to understand what we're reading and know it for ourselves and not just take it from hearsay or that show up. That's what they said. Well, that's what the preacher said. But you know what? Are they being submissive to God? If they're not being submissive to God. So then that's where we end up being in a position where we end up dealing with the lottie-dottie. And we don't have to. We don't have to. And I'm not trying to say, you know what, don't be submissive to your husband, but you've got to form that relationship. And one of the ways you can do that is you guys forming a relationship together with God. You've got to work together. There is no I in team. You know what? So it's a thing that you have to work on and learn. You got to learn each other, just don't go for the okie dokie. You've got to be able to learn them and take time. Take time. Read that Bible together. Or whatever form of, meditation. Yeah, whoever your creator is, you know what? You've got to listen to that and form that relationship with them. But the loyalty piece, as loyal as they are to our higher power, that's where your loyalty should be. And if their loyalty is not to them, there's something that you really need to think about that, because it will constantly put you in a state of fear. And as my cousin said, you know what? Fear is not of God. He did not give us a spirit of fear, but of a strong mind and determination. So, what is your determination? What is it that you want to do? What goals do you have in life to succeed? And, a lot of us don't want to be alone, but you know what? Sometimes that is the position that God puts us in. It is to be alone so that we can form a relationship with him. And then when it's time for us to, expound in life with another person or whatever, you know exactly what you want. So those are some of the things you need to do. Start setting goals for yourself and then work each one of those goals, efficiently and effectively, that's going to produce success in your life.
One of the things I want to address that Kiki and Tracy said, one, I want to start with Tracy when she made the statement of just don't accept everything and have the memo. Okay, yes, I'll do it. All right, no problem. No, we can't do that. The more that we allow ourselves, exactly, the more we allow ourselves to just not have a voice and not speak up for what we want and what we need and allow others to continue to do things that they're doing, we're diminishing ourselves. Okay, and once you get that way, that's when you start to get depressed and the self-worth that starts to diminish if you ever had it to start with and everything, and it's just not healthy, and going to what Kiki had said about self-worth, it all starts with you, identifying who you are, loving yourself, because you can't truly love someone until you love yourself and you understand what you want and what you need from someone, and then being able to communicate that. You know what I'm saying? I tell people that, I got married young and I went through a lot in my marriage. But you know what? I'm glad I went through it young, because as an older woman, I know there's some things I'm just not going to tolerate. You know what I'm saying? We all learn from our experiences, and the goal is to move forward from them and not continue to repeat them, because again, when we do those things, we diminish our own capacity, and that's not healthy for us, because not only are we here for ourselves, we have other women in our lives that are looking at what we do. You know, we have children, we have nieces, you know, we have grandchildren, co-workers. We have people that look up to you, you know, and they're learning how to make their own way through what they see, and that's what we did growing up. We saw mom, grandma, auntie, as my sister Kim was saying about what their relationships were about. And, you know, we thought, and going to loyalty, that was something that even in my own marriage that I should have gotten out of it, is, you know, sooner than what I did, is we were brought up that when you get married, you're married.
Yeah.
You don't divorce. You know, you try to work it out and everything else. And, you know, and that's what my mom did. But then, you know, my mom was strong enough to make a decision that it wasn't healthy for her no longer. You know, so I learned that, and then I finally got out, but I stayed in it because it was one of those situations. You get married, you're supposed to make it work. Then I had kids, then it was like, no, I don't want to take the kids away from their dad, you know, sort of situation, you know. So you learn all these things, but ultimately you have to make decisions for yourself and what's best for you and what's best for your children and your family. And sometimes that's separating yourself. Women, it's okay to love somebody from afar. I'm going to say I loved my husband. I knew, but he was someone that I couldn't be with if I was going to be healthy and stay out of jail. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those situations. You have to understand that there'll be some people in your life that you will love, but you have to understand that we can't be together because it's not healthy. Because ultimately someone is going to get hurt, mentally, physically. Somebody's going to get hurt.
And you're teaching your children how to love. I've known of relationships that right now they've been married 30 years, but they don't love each other. They're not in love with each other. They love each other, but they're not in love. Their children don't see them like patting them on the back or having genuine conversations. So they grow up thinking that this is what marriage is. They don't have the example. The crossroad is it better for you to separate and maybe possibly, no guarantee, find a greater love, something that may work? Or do you stay there and say, well, at least they have their father, or if you're a male, at least they have their mom. As those children grow up, they get married, and they're going to act just like you.
Exactly.
You're the example you're setting. And it's detrimental, especially if by some chance you meet a mate that knows what marriage is or what love is. They're going to be like, what the heck? What the heck are we doing here? And then here come their kids looking at mom and dad. It's really a generational thing, and there's nothing wrong with being alone.
Absolutely.
And I read something once before that says that the hardest thing in life is learning which bridges to cross and which one to burn.
Amen. Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Can you repeat that with some emphasis?
I was stating that I read something that stated that the hardest thing in life is learning which bridges to cross and which bridges to burn. Some people are in your life for a season.
Yeah.
Some people are in your life to teach you lessons. People are brought in your life sometimes for you to grow. I mean, you have to decide what type of people those people are.
Yeah.
And you got to know when to let them go.
God will let you know if you
Absolutely.
trust it. Last night I was lost out here, couldn't find my way. I was telling Kim today I was totally relying on GPS, and she was like, "Turn left and turn right," and I was so blinded. Where the heck am I? But I trusted GPS so much to get me here. I wish we could trust God like that.
Yeah,
We don't. We just hear that word, and just trust Him. That's the hard part, because He does not want us to be unhappy. He does not want us to be unfruitful. He does not want us to be in a position where we can't help each other. That's what we're here for, to help each other. But if you're so bogged down and sad, you can't give anybody anything.
Absolutely.
You
That
just
is so
trying to
true.
survive.
So true.
He didn't call us to that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Jeremiah 29:11 says,
Oh.
"For
I love that. Go ahead. Go ahead, Clara. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Jeremiah 29:11 says, that, God,
I know the plans I have for you.
come on, speak it now.
That's the
And
plans
it's, I know the plans that I have for you, and they are to prosper you
Yeah.
and to uphold you. They're
Not
not to
to
hurt
suffer.
you,
Not
and you're
to
not to
suffer.
suffer or be afraid or
want
be
that for
scared.
you.
God is there for us, but we have to be willing to go to Him first and give Him everything. Well,
Let
He
it
already
be
knows
GPS.
everything, but we have to be willing to submit
Let
to
it be
Him.
GPS.
So then once we submit to Him, He's able to come in and fulfill whatever need it is that we have in our life, but not until we submit, because if we don't submit to what it is, you know what? God's like, nope, she ain't ready. Nope, she ain't ready. So not until you are ready and you're able to submit to God, that's when He's able to come in and pour into you and give you what you need in your life, give you the people that you need in life,
It's like
let you know what bridge to cross and what
Which
bridge
one's
to
to
burn.
It's like a choo-choo train. Just keep going.
It's right,
Like last night,
exactly.
it was
Yeah.
so dark. I didn't know which way to go. I just kept going.
Right.
So was I scared? Yes. Did I smoke cigarettes? Yes. But I got here. That's just, I wasn't perfect in the situation.
And the thing was, she drove past my house and she was literally right around the corner. She wasn't even 30 seconds from my house.
Yeah.
But
I trusted that GPS.
and she trusted GPS,
Yeah,
God,
and that's
God.
what we need to do.
Yeah, we need to trust God. Learn to
It's
trust
not
God.
cute. It's not cute all
No,
the time.
but
It don't
that's-
feel
but
good.
that's life.
It is.
Absolutely.
What you gonna do?
That's life.
Yeah. Yeah, so the detours that come in our life, you know what? We trust God. We will take the right road to get to our
Even if it's
destination.
the wrong road, he will make it the right road.
Exactly. You may have to go around it a little, you may
Yeah.
go around a little bit, but you know what? He will get you to
Yes,
your destination.
detour.
It's a detour,
Detour.
right? And that's what life is. Life is full of detours, and you just got to trust God to know which way you need to go. And
I
you
gotta
may end
say
up
one
going
more
around
thing.
and
It's
around.
like bubbling in me. I'm sorry. This is just for the old heads out here. Richard Pryor did this comedy act where he was like really messed up. He was high all the time. And Jim Brown came to his house. It's for the senior citizens. He came to his house and he sat there and Rick Pryor was still high and smoking. Jim Brown sat there the whole time and said, so what you gonna do? He was like, yeah, I'm so tired of being high. I'm sick of it. He's like, so what you gonna do? He's like, I wish I had another day to do something different.
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do? Are you gonna sit in there? You gonna trust God to make the move? He got you.
Absolutely.
That was beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's the Holy Spirit.
And just piggybacking on the spirit that she just brought up, that is the question. What are you gonna do? We sit and we talk about the topics that we sit
Your
here
sorrows, your woes.
on tabletop discussion, and it's not only for us to discuss topics that are relevant to what's going on in our life and our experience, but also what next steps are you gonna take? Cause it's about identifying, but then the next step is what you gonna do.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta make some decisions. Some decisions may be, I'm not gonna say the wrong one. Maybe,
GPS.
something that you may have to go through to get to the right one. But start making decisions. Because nothing's gonna change until you make up your mind that you're ready to do something different. That you're tired of being tired.
Yeah.
Okay, you're tired of feeling the way that you're feeling. You're tired of not having. You're tired of not being happy. You're tired of coming home and you're in a relationship but you don't feel it. What are you gonna do? I mean, that's such a great, ender to what we've been sitting here talking about today. What are you gonna do? Because nobody can do it but you.
Yeah.
And you have to make that first step. And it's hard.
It is.
Okay, it's we're not sitting here saying that anything is easy. It's hard, especially when it's affairs of the heart. It is hard, and you'll hear people tell you, oh, you can work it out, or oh, you need to leave them, or all of this. You have to make your decision about what's right for you. And ask all those questions, but the ultimate one is what you're going to do. Because nothing's going to change until you make a decision to do different, to be better. And if you have a sister circle, they got your back.
They do.
Right.
Okay, and
They
you
come
want
running through.
and you want women in your life that's gonna talk to you and tell you the real.
No doubt.
Okay, they're not gonna sit there and say, "Girl, I understand." Yeah. They're gonna tell you how they feel and what they think. Okay, and that's what you want in your life. You don't want placaters.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody to just agree with everything that's going
Jumpsters.
on. You need people that's gonna tell you that, but be there and love you and not judge you, cause we've all done been through stuff.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and my sisters will tell you sitting here that, you know, I can be judgmental, but
We all have those
just
moments.
they're my sisters, and I'm gonna always say what I think and what I feel about certain things. But anything that I ever say is always in the guidance,
Yeah.
cause
Right.
I mean, I'm young, but I've been through so much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I survived it.
Yeah.
And then I learned how to live. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? You want to get from survival to being able to live.
No fear. That's the word. I get it. You know, being married for 25 years, we had a nice little cute house. And he made more money than I did. Now, I could have made it, but I wouldn't have been able to make it like that. It was so hard to make that decision to leave. But it was like a death and a rebirth. Not that I'm encouraging anybody to do that. I'm just saying, whatever choice you make, it's going to be a rebirth after that. If you decide this is where you're going to be there. You can't keep saying he's not and you've accepted it. Now, if you
Exactly.
accepted that,
Denial.
Stop
Yeah.
going around to your girlfriends and saying he didn't come home last night. Like, girl, you always talk about how your husband didn't come home. It turns into that. But if you have to decide if you want to accept it or move on. But God knows you have to do what will bring you closer to him. That's the answer.
You can't change a man, you can't change a woman, they gotta wanna change themselves. If you're
Absolutely.
telling somebody exactly how you feel or they're making you feel and they don't make the adjustments to correct it, they're not working.
You have your answer.
In the words of Jim Brown, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
What
Oh,
you
that's
gonna
our
do?
new phrase. I like that right there. I like that. What you gonna
And we
do?
can find
What
that.
you
gonna
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do? Exactly. I like that. And that's true. And that's the only responsibility that we have is to be honest about how we feel.
Yeah.
Okay? Because if you don't tell somebody, if you want them to just, you know, think about it or want them to just notice that you're sad or you're not happy, that's never gonna work because men love being in denial of what's going on in their house. Okay? So let's be real about that. So it's your responsibility to say, hey, I'm not happy. I haven't been happy in a while. I love you. I want us to work this out, but this is what's going on with me. So this is what I'm telling you I need. And then that's up to them. And as my sister said, if they don't feel that they need to make any adjustments or whatever the case may be, then what you gonna do? You know?
Absolutely.
How do you feel about this?
I mean, because I'd rather be alone than sleep next to somebody every day that's going to taint and corrupt my soul negatively. Because just as there's angels in many forms and faces around you, there are sure demons too.
Come on, preach, Kiki.
I just got chill bumps. That's my niece.
That's true.
But you're right about
Absolutely.
that. It goes to what you want and being happy. And we deserve to be happy.
Absolutely.
We as women
do.
go through so much
We
and
do.
we just go, we do a lot, we go through so
Sacrifice
much.
a lot.
You know, we were built to handle
Built
more.
for it.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. We were built to handle
Especially black
more.
women, yeah.
And man, we can handle it, but boy,
Come on now.
it can be heavy
Come
on
on
you.
now.
You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have a higher power in
Yeah.
your life to help you through
You
it,
can't do it.
woo!
And it can be so heavy on you to the point, as I said before, you get to that breaking point, and sometimes you get to that breaking point, you know what, you're sometimes not in control mentally of what's about to happen.
Girl.
Or spiritually what you're going to say. Because once you say something, you know what, you can't take it back. So, you know, you've got to be careful. So stop bottling that stuff up and get it out because something's going to happen. And you know what? You're going to snap, and I promise you all hell is going to break loose. And it could be to a detrimental situation where someone could lose their life or someone can seriously be
And you're
hurt.
sitting here right now thinking that I would never. You know,
Oh,
I
you
would
don't know.
never.
You just don't know.
I've done
You don't.
something that I'm really embarrassed about forever. I lost my phone. And I went to the guy's was like, hello, who's this? But I was driven. I lost so much control of myself. You know, that ain't right. No woman should ever degrade themselves that
Exactly.
much. But in that moment, it did feel good.
And I'm going to repeat what she just said, that no woman should do that. So we're
It's
not
wrong.
advocating
It's
that
out of
you
character.
do things like
God
that.
was not proud of me, and I'm embarrassed.
And as she
I'm
said,
embarrassed.
certain things will bring you out of your character
Character.
if you allow it
Yeah,
to.
and I
So
did.
that's why we have to remain in control.
And
But things like have happened that has brought you to that point. But you have to remember, you allowed it to happen.
I
So
did.
therefore, you have to allow yourself to stop it before you cross the line. Because
Yeah.
I mean,
thank God it was just that.
exactly.
You
You
know,
know what I'm saying?
And it can happen to you.
Yes.
Whether you believe it or not.
Yes.
I'm a happy-go-lucky chick. I don't know what, but it was like a blackout.
What had happened
I drove
was.
by his house 3 times, like, don't do it, do it.
Right.
And nobody wants
And like
to be
Kiki
there.
said, you got them angels and you got them demons.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes, depending on the frame of mind that
Yeah.
you're in, you know what? Them demons can override
They
sometimes.
can.
They
Yeah.
really
Because
can.
hurt is a powerful emotion.
Exactly.
Oh, it
Hurt
sure
is the
is.
worst
Hurt is
emotion.
blinding,
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming, not irrational or non-rational. All
Irrational.
all
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because in that moment,
Yeah.
you're justifying what you're
Yeah.
doing.
'Cause
In
they
that
deserve
moment.
it. And you can end up in a very bad place.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
I'm just saying, just save yourself. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. It could go either way at any time. Trust in God that He will bring you. If you're happy, I'm happy for you. But you have to trust that God will bring you your mate. And if that's not the calling from your life, what He got for you is beautiful.
Amen to that.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It really
Absolutely.
is.
That goes for men too.
Oh yes,
Yes.
it goes both
Oh,
ways.
wow.
It goes
Yes.
both ways. It
Yeah.
does. It goes both ways. So we're sitting here just talking about women,
Yes.
but you know what? It does go both. It goes
It does.
both ways.
Yes.
Because we all deserve a healthy, happy life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
No
we
matter
all
what that
do.
looks like.
Exactly,
Yeah.
to you. But,
Yeah.
and we all deserve that. You know, tabletop discussion is geared toward women. But when we talk about relationships and taking care of ourselves, that's for any gender.
Yes.
Okay?
Thanks, Sugar. I can't believe I told that story.
But hey, but this is
a few others.
yes, please don't. Hey, the statute of limitations have not run out, okay? So no. Zip that up.
But I'm happily married now. I'm
Yeah.
happily married. I went through the first. I'm happily married because I am myself.
Absolutely.
I am really myself.
And we gotta learn to be
the goal.
ourselves.
That's the goal.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
And they have to accept you
Yeah.
as
Or and
yourself.
if not, I mean that's compromise, of course.
Yeah.
But your real self,
Yeah.
they have to,
Absolutely.
and you have to accept them as they are too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of us women, we put on the facade in front of our mates. You
Yes.
know what? Kick that stuff out the door. I almost said something else. But
Right.
kick it out the door. Like literally, if you can't be yourself in front of your mate, guess what? You better rethink that situation that you're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
'cause you
stop
can't.
falling in love with potential. Because
Absolutely.
potential could or could not be. You
Absolutely.
have to be in this moment of loving this person.
Right.
Potential is a maybe.
Absolutely. I like that potential.
You
is
can
maybe.
say you can build a man, but that man should already be built for you.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Well,
You
got some nuggets. Dropping nuggets.
What?
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome.
She got some nuggets.
True.
Right.
But you know what? Before we close out, I would like for all of us to say in unison what our new phrase is. You know what our new phrase is? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. What you gonna do? This has been another episode of Tabletop Discussion. Please share and subscribe to our channel. Send in questions to empowermentbuilders@gmail.com if there's certain things you would like for us to discuss. But we love sharing ourselves with
We love
you.
sister.
So remember what you're gonna do, you know. And just to close, I wanted to state the serenity prayer, which is, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
We love you.
Peace out.